Welcome back to this special edition of Unscripted. This time we focus on Hockey Day Minnesota, and we kick it off joined by a couple of very special guests who are well known in the hockey community in Minnesota. John and Krissy Pohl, they've been a part of Hockey Day Minnesota when coaching, not playing, but coaching with Cretin-Derham Hall. They were a part of Hockey Day Minnesota back in 2015. First, guys, I got to start with just what's life been like in your household with three youngsters? There's got to be a little cooped up energy right now over these last 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well, it was nice. The golf course was open last weekend, so he could get out of the house. The only guy in the house. So 4 girls, he was anxious to get out. But no, it's been good. Kids are actually, I told Johnny, I think we're actually at great ages. We got 5th grade, 3rd grade, and 2nd grade. So they don't really have devices too much. We have to worry about kind of monitoring that. And they get along for the most part, and they're sleeping through the night, and they're pretty independent. So it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, I would agree. It's been fun to spend so much time with the kids. Sometimes their homework can be a little difficult. Our 5th grader is into algebraic equations, which that was never my strong suit. So it's obviously an unfortunate time worldwide, and we're all going through a change. But selfishly, it has been really nice to spend so much quality time. Like Krissy said, our kids are very active, and they got stuff on the go 3 or 4 nights a week. So for us to really just kind of hunker down and really spend a lot of family time has been awesome.
Even though you're not coaching at the high school level anymore, coaching is still a big part of both of your lives. What's that adjustment been like, both for the kids, but also for you guys who would have been very involved in spring hockey and everything else that would have normally been on the calendar at this time of year?
Yeah, it's funny. Well, when we coached high school together, when we first started coaching, we were kind of on the bench together. Now recently with 3 kids playing 3 different schedules, we're coaching the same teams, but we're not coaching together. It's kind of, who's going to take who's going to go where. And actually the spring season is kind of the time where our kids get into soccer. So we always call it our favorite season, where we just get to sit the lawn chair on the sidelines and kick our feet up and kind of just be a parent. So we missed a little bit of the spring hockey. I know the kids are really itching to see some of the teammates that they don't play with throughout the winter that are kind of spread out throughout the Twin Cities. They've done some Zoom calls and stuff, but it's been, I didn't realize how much we'd be able to kick back this spring.
Yeah. Coaching the youth has been awesome. Like you said, we coached high school for 5 years, and we got out of it because our kids were just about to start the youth, and best decision we ever made. It's so cool to be around the young kids and to see your child at that age, where 8, 9, 10, now almost 12, where the game is still so pure and there's no pressure. They just go to play and see the smiles on their faces when they score a goal, or see them swimming in the pool at the out-of-town tournament. I mean, it's things you remember as a kid, and now to see your own child go through that, or to be a small part of it, to provide that for other kids, it's been incredibly rewarding.
Do you see yourselves getting back into coaching at the high school level, perhaps, not just when your kids get there, but once your kids are gone?
I can't even think that far ahead. Definitely not when our kids are there. I think there's something I enjoy. I know we kind of have the same philosophy that we really want to enjoy their youth time. And like you said, we have a almost 12-year-old. So there's limited years that we're going to be able to continue to coach her, maybe 1 or 2 more years. And then once she gets to high school, I think it's really important for them to kind of have their own experience and be away from mom and dad and kind of separate that, and can get a little different with a parent coach. And just for them to kind of have their own experience, I think is really important. So who knows after that, that's kind of long-term. If coaching, either of us get the bug and want to get back into it, it certainly wouldn't be until after our kids graduate high school. I know it's important to be able to just be a parent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we both love coaching, and being able to coach our kids when they're young has been awesome, but our kids will need to hear a different voice at some time. And I think that parent-coach relationship, when the stakes get raised, can really have a negative effects, not only on a team, but also on a parent and a child. For my situation, my dad coached high school for 18 years and got out right before I started. He got out when I was in 7th grade, and he was always dad to me. He was never coach. I tell people this, our U12 team this year, for the first time ever, we actually kind of played games that really mattered. We never cared if they won or lost, but there was a game at the end of the year where if we won, we were going to be able to get another 2 to 3 weeks of playing. Well, we actually kind of had to coach to win a little bit, and that involved sitting our daughter when the penalty kill came around, because she's a lot like Dad. She does not block shots and doesn't really do a whole lot of defensive zone stuff. So we kind of had to limit her ice. And she did not take very well to that. And she kind of was asking us after the game, like, why she didn't play as much. And so we can tell her that at 12. But as they get older, those are conversations that we will lead to the professionals. And we'll be mom and dad in the stands cheering them on.
I can relate to that. I've had to cut a son. I've had to pinch hit for a son many times. It's not an easy spot. There's no question about it. Hockey Day Minnesota, so much a part of the stories that we tell are just how hockey is ingrained into families. And now as parents, you guys are experiencing it, but you both grew up playing hockey in Minnesota from youth levels all the way through high school, and then both played your collegiate hockey here. When you look at the day and the stories that are told, you guys have got to be like the poster children for how important hockey can be in somebody's life and how big a part of life it can be. Can you try to describe how much a part of your being has been defined and has had it added to, supplemented by your life in hockey?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think when you're growing up, you don't realize how much of a part of it is. Especially for me, I started playing when I was 5. My brother was playing, so it just kind of evolved. But I think when I look back and like John said, when we see our kids kind of have those same experiences, it brings back some of those memories and the friendships that we were able to get. For me, I was lucky. I got to travel the world and see so many places of the world that I would have never, ever even thought. I went to China, went to Beijing. I mean, I would have never thought that hockey would have brought me there. And the only reason I went there was because of hockey. And to see some of the cultural changes and life in different cultures for me was a life experience that I got because of hockey, and the friendships I've made that I now still have those connections wherever they are, people all over the United States, all over the world. I know we got a chance when he played. We moved over to Lugano, Switzerland with our 9-week-old baby and crash course in marriage and parenting. We survived and we made it to Sweden. And just having those life experiences that I feel like maybe you're so committed to your sport, you don't get to do those study abroads, but then eventually we kind of got to do that in a different way. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me growing up in Red Wing, having 3 brothers and a dad that was a high school coach, hockey was a huge part of our existence. We had a room in the basement. My dad called it the rec room, WRECK, because we probably played 1,000 floor hockey games down there every winter. And, then through the youth levels, just playing with your friends. And, I kind of mentioned earlier, like the out of town tournament. When I was a kid, we got to go to Alexandria and stay at Arrowwood. And it was like this huge deal because they had a pool and it was so amazing. And now to see our kids go through that. And you mentioned Hockey Day in Minnesota. The last 3 years, I've been in Duluth for Hockey Day with our youth teams, and they all sit around and watch the games. And it's become such a part of, Minnesota, but also just how kids grow up and being a part of a team and learning to work together and facing adversity, having success, having failures. The things that hockey taught me growing up and the friendships I made, I mean, it's something that you can't replace.
Well, guys, it's been great catching up with you. I mean, so many great stories, and you guys have been a part of it throughout your hockey careers, throughout your coaching careers, throughout life. And we were thrilled to have you as a part of Hockey Day Minnesota back in 2015, coaching the Cretin-Durham Hall girls to a win on Hockey Day Minnesota. Thanks very much for joining us today, and hope you stay safe during these tough times.
Thank you.